All right, so for today, Monday, March 1st, we're going to be focusing on stories of the U.S. Dakota War. And so as we normally do, just open up your checklist for today. Let's make sure we do our warm-up first. And the warm-up is pretty simple for today. What we're looking for you to do is to just look at this image, think about what we've been learning, and for you to kind of figure out what you should do or what you're looking at. And then just write a caption as part of your comment for your warm-up for today. So just describe what is happening in this scene. Once you have done that, okay, just post that comment and you're good to move on to the next part of your checklist. So we just head back to the checklist. It's opening up your lesson today, 3-15, Stories of the U.S. Dakota War. Open up this assignment in Kami. Once Kami is loaded, we'll give you next steps here. Sorry, this is taking a little bit. And do all this stuff real quick here. Okay. So once you're in the Kami itself, right, we're focusing on Stories of the Dakota War, our central question, our learning target. Make sure you're familiar with both of those things. Your warm-up is already done, so we move on to the lesson. Making sure that we are following directions, we're going to open up this link right here. It's the first thing we're going to do. If it'll do it for me, here we go. And the link is going to bring you to this document here. This document here is just several sources, primary sources, of people who were involved in the U.S. Dakota War. You're going to use these sources to complete your lesson for today. So now that you have this tab open, you just go back to your Kami, and let's focus on next steps for directions. So after you have that link open, we're going to choose 3 of those primary sources from the U.S. Dakota War. So again, back at this document here, you're picking 3 of these sources. A lot of students generally just look at the name of the people that they're reading about to kind of help them decide, but there are several here for you to kind of think through. And I promise you, many of them are pretty good and pretty interesting as it relates to some of the experiences of these individuals in the U.S. Dakota War. So, decide what 3 you want to choose, and that's what you can focus on for next steps here. So back at the lesson, all you're going to do for each source is what I'll explain using this first table. Okay, you're just going to fill out these charts, fill out these tables by answering these questions. So the questions are on the left, and then the answers that you would provide are on the right. So the first question is, what is the name of the person in the source? So whatever source you choose, just make sure you put the name of that person using your Kami tools here. Is that person a white settler or a Dakota? This should be fairly simple to figure out. All I want you to do for your answer on this one is highlight which one it is. The third question is this person for or against the war? And what evidence from their experience helps you to know? So again, you read their story, you'll highlight whether they're for the war, meaning they wanted the war to happen, or they're against the war, meaning they did not want the war to happen. And then you just describe how you know this using text evidence. Okay, so make sure you're reading those stories to help you with this response in particular for the spot here. Last question is, how did the war impact the person you investigated? And again, sentence starter is just telling us how you think the U.S. Dakota War played a role in this person's life, or what it might have done to change their lives even. And again, you're going to repeat this process, what we just went through for source 1, for the second source that you choose, and the third source that you choose. Again, following the directions about choosing 3 different primary sources from this document here, again, using the link right here. Once that is complete, then your last step is just the wrap-up, which is pretty simple. Of those 3 sources that you chose from, which one did you think was the most interesting and why? And so just tell me which source it was, 1, 2, or 3, and then why it was the most interesting by completing this part of the lesson. Please submit this when you are done, and then you are good to go from there.